TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back from the All-Star break. This is In the Batter's Box. My name is Scott Webb. Daniel Berry Sports, I see you out there. Thank you. How you doing today? And welcome in, right? I mean, I don't bet like the All-Star game. I didn't bet the home run derby unless there's, stuff going on that makes it, vital to bet. That, you can find information sometimes that no matter what the event is, no matter whether you're good at analyzing certain things or not, you just bet. So, for example, Bronny James, when he had his first game for the Lakers in the Summer League, his props and all that stuff were all way too high. And I think it was obvious and everybody knew it. So most people were just jamming that bet. So that's what I'm talking about. Is there's certain things that come across that you don't have to know nothing about the game. You don't have to know nothing about the sport. It's just the situation. Hey, Jay Berry, welcome in, man. Welcome back. Thank you. I appreciate that, brother. It's good. I wrote some articles in the time off. If you guys didn't see them, most of it's posted on the website. Sign up to the free newsletter. They'll come to your the email box. One of them was in regards to pitchers at this moment in time where their innings limits or innings pitched this year are starting to approach either what they did last year or starting to get to a point where you need to be cognizant or be aware, because the return on those guys is going to be smaller. And, whether you're doing them in DFS or you're doing them for a fantasy league or you're just betting the games, you got to pay attention to what's happening. There's one guy on the list today, but he's not quite where I'm really worried about him yet. He will be, but he's not there yet. San Francisco Harrison pitching tonight. Where's my list of there? He's at 86 innings right now, and last year he threw 101, and in 2022 he threw 113. The reason that you want to watch him is because, say he throws 5 innings tonight, now he's at 91. That's 10 innings away from what he did last year. They're only going to let him go, 20 to 40 innings above that, and then they shut him down. But you got to watch because the diminished returns too, right? So, and he's been hurt some, so we're going to watch that guy and see how that goes for him. He's off a good start, so we'll see how that goes. Marty Lowe, my man, how are you today, my friend? Welcome in. It's great. It's great to have people talking. It's great to have some interaction. And again, listen, I haven't gotten into anything yet. So if a couple things, I just talked about pictures for a minute, but you can go to the website. It's posted on the website. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything to see that list of stuff. And the information's there. Just guys, I think there's probably in the neighborhood of about 20 guys listed there. So as you're doing that stuff, you can get there. You can sign up for the newsletter. That's free. But the idea is to try to present things to think about and things that make you better, right? That's the whole idea. The whole idea is to make bets and win bets. Today we're going to have what is that? 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 bets today, it looks like. And we'll see how that goes. First game doesn't go till 7:07, so I'm not pressed for time, but I'll get it in here in a second. But I wanted to say 2 things. The first thing that I wanted to say was there's more than one way to win at this, right? So when you guys listen to me and you hear what I say and the things I do, I know for a fact that I'm different than what you hear from other people, because you don't hear the stuff I go over. You don't hear how I break down. They don't break down games like I do. So my thought process behind that is I want facts. I bet off of facts, and facts come from data. So it's important to get the right data, and you need to play around with the data a little bit. You think the Dodgers will make any moves before the deadline? Marty asks. It's a good question. And the answer to that question, I believe, is yes, because they don't have a choice. They don't have enough pitching to get through where they need to go. Yamamoto is put on the 60-day DL. That doesn't mean he won't be back before the season ends. Scherzer. You're going to see Kershaw probably within 10 days. I think he's going to pitch within 10 days. But I'm not. So think about this, right? I think you're going to get Glasnow back in about 10 days. But what do you have as a rotation for that team? And when you think about the Dodgers and where they're at, they got a lot of guys hurt, but their current rotation consists of James Paxton, Landon Knack, Gavin Stone, and Justin Robleski. Bueller's not really hurt. Bueller came back. Marty's asking if Bueller's hurt. But Bueller's not really hurt. Bueller came back and isn't right. So I don't know if that means he's hurt. It means they got to get him fixed. But he's in AAA and trying to figure out. He's trying to pitch. He's trying to figure it out. He got sent down. So when you look at where he's at, here's the guys that are on their injured list right now, in terms of pitchers. Oh, I'm sorry. They're saying that Walker Buehler is on the injured list. He's hip discomfort, but he was sent down and must not have done good down there, so they put him away. But they got Buehler, Glasnow, Gonsolin, Kershaw, Dustin May, and Yamamoto all on the disabled list. Kershaw's coming. He's already making some posts. Says there's been talk about interest in Tariq Skubal. I'll be honest. If you're not interested in Tariq Skubal, everybody should be interested in Tariq Skubal. There's going to be a hell of a price to pay to get Tariq Skubal, like a hell of a price to pay. So I don't know if they're going to be able to do that or not. I don't know. So here's a couple other problems with the Dodgers. So the Dodgers, we just went over the injured pitchers, but they have injured bullpen guys: Ryan Brazier, Connor Brogdon, Graterol. He's getting ready to come back too. He should be back soon because he's pitching in the minor leagues. He should be back soon, so that'll help. And I know they just activated. I don't know if it's on this list right now, but they just oh, he's there. Yep, they just activated Joe Kelly, so that's somebody coming back. But they need Max Muncy in this lineup, and he's not there yet. And they need him back. You can put these James Outmans out there and Gavin Luxes and Miguel Rojas's and these Chris Taylors and those kind of guys, and try to make it through. But the National League's pretty tough. And what I mean by pretty tough is, you still got to beat the Braves. and you still got to beat the Phillies. And theoretically, you got to beat the Brewers. And I don't, we'll see how that works out. So they need help. So yes, I suspect that they're going to spend some money, or they're going to make some deals or make some trades and do stuff. They got prospects. They can move people around. I don't think you go out and spend the money you did for Ohtani and for Yamamoto at the beginning of the season. I don't know, it was $1 billion or some crazy number like that. I don't think you spend that kind of money and then don't support it when you need it. Now, so I'm fairly certain that you're going to see the Dodgers go do something. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do. I think there's a lot of talk of a lot of things. But the Dodgers have the money. They've got the wherewithal, and they've already spent the money. So the big names will be moving around with the Dodgers. But getting back to kind of where I was going with this on kind of how I break down the games, and the point I was trying to make is I do things a certain way. So I do things based off facts and data. The facts and data that I use then create or lead to a theory, right? It's a game flow. It's a picture. I'm putting a puzzle together, and if it all fits and it all looks good, my theory works. I think it's good. But then what I want to do is I want to justify that theory with kind of things that aren't necessarily the meat and potatoes part, and justify it and make the bet, right? So that's how I do it. Now, some people go out and they go and they look at certain things and they go, I like this idea. I like that concept. I like this. I like that. They go look at how a pitcher does against the team, and they go and say, well, he's really good against this team. He's done really good against those hitters. So they're not going to hit him. So they make bets. And if that's your style and that's your way, then that's your style and that's your way. And that's what you do. The reason I tell you all of these things is because, I felt bad. I've had a couple of questions about games that I feel like I answered them my way. And I may have turned people away from actually winning a bet that they felt comfortable with what they were doing. And then my big mouth and the way I broke it down and did whatever may have gotten them off of a game. So I wanted to make sure that you guys know that so there's a couple of things. One, I'm never going to apologize for what I do because I do it the way I do. I've done it for years and years and years, and I trust what I do 100%. So I'm not going to apologize if I did it, but I do feel bad sometimes, and I'm doing everything I can to help. And if I steer you away from something, I don't mean to do that. So that's number one. There's more than one way to win at this, and this is just my way. Now, granted, I think my way is the best way, or I wouldn't necessarily be on here trying to help people do it, because I've seen what other people do, and I've seen how they handicap, and I think I've seen their styles, and they go pull up trends and histories and all this other stuff, and it's just not what you do. But anyway, point being is that, but I felt bad. I just want to make sure that I said that so that everybody can kind of understand that I'm doing it the way I think to do it. And if I steer you one way and you make a bet that way and it wins, it's great. If it loses, well, I apologize that it lost because we didn't win any money, but I'm not apologizing for the work that went into it because, man, I'm telling you, there's a lot of work that goes into these bets. Jay says, you've been very consistent. Yes. I will tell you that the process that I kind of go through is similar every day. It may change to a small degrees only because there's so much information, and every day there's 15 new games, 30 different new pitchers, and new data points. So all of that may change the weighting of influence sometimes. And what I'm looking at, but the truth is that the process is the same every day, all the time. So I do appreciate that. Very consistent. That's what I try to do. But I just want to make sure that everybody knows that I am trying to help. And if I steer you away from a play, I didn't do it on purpose. Trust me. I want you to win as much money as you can win. And I don't want to be the catalyst that says, hey, you lost money. So So I want to steer you away from stuff that I think you're going to lose on. So anyway, point being is that I wanted to get that in. And I did want to make sure that everybody understood that my process basically is facts, data leads to a theory, justify the theory, then go make your bet. That's kind of how I do it. So that all being said, we're gonna get into game number one. Game number one is at looks like 7:07, and if I bring my stuff over here, that way I don't have to steer away from the screen so much. And let me get. I don't know if it matters what the numbers are, but so this is Detroit Tigers. And this is at Toronto Blue Jays. So the pitchers are Jack Flaherty, and Jack's going to face today, looks like Chris Bassett. So as we're going to break down this game real quick, there's a couple things that you need to know. I was going to pull this up beforehand, so I had it right available to me, and then I was looking at something else. So as you can see, sometimes I am an easily distracted person because there's so much stuff going on. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to look at the standings, and I don't look at the standings in a lot of different ways. I look at it for certain things, but I don't look at it for other things. Like, I really don't care what the records are. I really don't. I'm using other formulations to get how I rate them anyway. But what you do want to know is, so like the Detroit Tigers, in the last 10 games, they've won 8 times. So they're 8-2 in the last 10 times. That's kind of an important thing. The Toronto Blue Jays in the last 10 games are 5-5. Their record for the season is 44-52. So they're below 500. So when you're kind of looking at these things and you go, well, first of all, I got to understand the game is in Toronto, right? Yeah. So it's in Toronto. But you have Detroit, who's probably the better team, right? So how would you grade that by look at the run differential, and you'll know a little bit more about how these teams grade out. So the run differential for the Tigers is -7, so about even. So, and they're about a 500 team. They're 47-50. It's really close. The Toronto Blue Jays are -66. So they're 66 runs worse than the opponents that they've played. And in the American League, there's 3 teams worse than them. Only 3. And those 3 teams are the White Sox, the Angels, and the A's. So they are closer. So the Angels are -87, the A's are -83. So it's only 17 runs difference. And the other one was 20 runs difference. For them to kind of move up, right, to get to where the Tigers are at -7, that's like 55 runs. So they're closer to being like the Angels and the A's than they are to the Tigers. So that tells me, number one, that the Tigers are a better team, right? So you can just kind of look at it that way. And the Tigers are, in this case, 8-2. So in the last 10 games, that's pretty good. You can also, if you use, and I'll give them a little caveat here, baseballreference.com. I use them, and that's where I get the SOPS plus numbers and stuff. I use them a lot for that kind of thing. I don't 100% like some of the stuff that they do, but I do like that part of it. And the other thing that I think that's great that they do is they break it out and they show you, okay, the Tigers are 8-2 in their last 10 games. And here they are in the last 20 games, and here they are in the last 30 games. So they're 11-9 in the last 20, and they're 15-15 in the last 30. So it kind of gives you a little bit of a track record of what the Tigers are up to. And the Blue Jays are 5-5 in the last 10. They're 9-11 in the last 20, and they're 12-18 in the last 30. So they're a below 500 team, and that's what they are. And all you hear about right now for the Toronto side of things is they're going to get rid of players, right? They can't win. They're not going to make the playoffs, so they're going to start selling. Well, if you're a team and you got players on the team that way, that kind of gets your mojo down a little bit. I'm not going to say that it does to the effect that it's going to be It can be a steamroller, I will tell you that, meaning that once you lose a game, then you lose another, then you lose another, then you can start looking at them as going, I'm going to bet against them almost every time they play, because that's kind of who they become. They become that steamroller that just says, okay, we're done. We need to bring up the kids. We need to go change who we are and what the scope is. And we need to try to go get as many good players as we can. So we're going to trade all these guys. The Tigers are a little different. The American League's set up a little different in terms of the wild card right now. They're not out of it, but at the same time, they're not out of it. They're not really in it. They would need to make some moves and do some different things. They're a 500-ish team, but they want to be, right? That's kind of where they are, and that's what they're trying to do, and that's who they're trying to become. And they're trying to build out of the cellar dwellers thing that they've had going on. So I like the Tigers in a sense that I think they're a better team than the Blue Jays. So that's number one. So then number two, when I look at this game, I'm looking at it and I'm going, all right, let me look at these pitchers for a second. And then I start looking at it, and I looked at SOPS plus, and let me get my numbers so I can get this right. SOPS plus for these guys. Bassett is a 92 in his last 28 days, and Flaherty is a 95. So they're both a little better than average pitching. For the season, Flaherty's been a lot better. He's an 81, so he's 20% better than an average pitcher. And this is, again, controlling the opponent's offense, right? So that's what we want to see what we can do. But on the road, Flaherty's much better than he is when he pitches in Detroit. He's a 72. So he's almost 30% better than an average pitcher on the road. And then you have Bassett, who's a 111 at home. So he's 11% worse than an average pitcher at home. So you got to kind of have a little dichotomy there. And then if you really break it down and look at it, night games, Flaherty's a 90 at night, so 10% better. And Bassett's a 103. So that means he's average, right? So I got no issues there. Both pitchers have pitched against these teams before, and they both have done well. So how do we kind of grade this out? Well, we're going to flip the switch to one thing on this side, and we're going to look at it from a perspective of where is Flaherty really good? Well, Flaherty is really good at whip rate. Walks plus hits divided by innings pitched. So he's a 103. That's in the best 25% of all of the pitchers in baseball. So that means that he puts one guy gets on base per inning, basically. And his batting average against is 202. Well, the batting average for the league is 240, 242, I think, as it is right now. So 202, that's a pretty significant drop off, right? These guys don't. So think about that from a different level. How do you get on base? Does he walk guys? Well, his walk rate is 2.42, so it's average. It's not low, but it's not high. So his average. It's average. So it's going to be really a work for Toronto to have a bunch of base runners. It's just kind of the way it is, the way Flaherty pitches. So on the other side, you got Bassett. Bassett's whip rate, 1.52. 1.5 guys per inning get on base. So that matters. When you go from having a 1 guy get on base, best 25%, to 1.5, worst 25% of all of baseball, you got an issue. So Bassett's getting guys on base. Let's see, how does that happen? Well, the first thing you look at is his walk rate, 4 per 9 innings. So he's going to walk 2 or 3 guys tonight. So they're going to have 2 or 3 guys on base, maybe 4, I don't know. But 2 or 3 guys are going to get on base because he walked them. And then his batting average against is 272. Well, league average was 240. So they're hitting the ball. They're getting on base because they got hits. That's why he's got a 152 whip rate. So I think that where you run into the problem here is he's going to allow base runners, Flaherty less, but what do the offenses look like and can they capitalize, right? So then you flip this back over and you go offense and you say, Detroit, can you capitalize on Bassett's inability to prevent base runners? Well, it looks to me like they can. They are offensive WAR ranked number 3 in baseball. They're averaging 6 runs a game on offense right now, and they have a 6 isolated power. They have 7 guys that are over offensive WAR of 1. That's a lot. You got 9 guys in a lineup, and 7 of them are all hitting. That's pretty good. So your whole lineup is hitting. You don't have to worry about, well, I need the star to hit. All of them are hitting. So Colt Keith and Riley Green are leading that bandwagon, but Ibanez and Velade was also on there. So when you think about it, they're calling up some of these guys, and the call-ups are playing really well. And when you look at the other side, Toronto, they're 16th in offensive WAR. They are led by Ernie Clement, plays third base. Well, he's having a good last 7 days. Well, that's great. Where's Guerrero Jr.? Well, he's at the end. He's a minus. He's pulling away from their offense. So when you break this kind of down and you look at their offense in terms of those hitters, they come out with a 14.2 offensive WAR, and you do the same thing for Toronto, they come out with a 2.4. So I looked at it and I go, all right, what do my numbers show? Well, my numbers then, when I pulled this up and I look at them, I got to pull this screen back over here. Detroit, I have at minus 107, Toronto plus 107. And here we are. The number is, and it's going the other way too, because this line opened. There it is. This line, man, I got too many monitors going on over here. So the line opened at minus 120. Toronto minus 120. It is now, just looking at Circus minus 130, Bookmakers minus 131, DraftKings minus 135. People are betting on Toronto. That puts Detroit in the crosshairs, and that puts Detroit on sale. So after this morning, at minus 120, you're getting Detroit at plus 110. Okay, well, you still got value. Well, now it's 130, so you're getting them at plus 120. You're getting extra money. I can't pass that up. I gotta bet Detroit. So first game of the day is Detroit Tigers against the Toronto Blue Jays, plus the number against Bassett tonight. We're gonna expect our offense to get on base, make a few hits, get a few runs, and maybe score 6 or 7 and have some fun. And Toronto's bullpen, they can't hold the leads. The Toronto bullpen, I know this because I do this every day, but where is it? There it is. There's 30 teams in Major League Baseball. They are 28th out of 30 teams. It's not very good. So I like the idea that even if we're behind in the late innings, we can come back and we can win this game. And you know what? It's a dog play. I love dog play. So here you go. Detroit Tigers, Jack Flaherty. And Jack Flaherty might get moved. Marty was talking about Tariq Skubal. Jack Flaherty is one of these guys that might get moved too. If I'm the Tigers, I would move him. I would not move Skubal. But at the same time, it is what it is. It's up to those guys. I mean, whatever, I think I read something the other day where the Dodgers said, everybody's got a price. Doesn't matter who it is. Everybody's got a price. It's just what are you willing to pay for it, right? So that was game number 1. Game number 2 today. Let me write that down over here. I got that one out of the way. So we got Flaherty done. All right. So these next 3 games are all going to be a same theme. We've talked about some of these things. One of them was we're attacking bad pitchers, right? We want to attack bad pitchers. So we're looking for bad pitchers. We're going to attack them. But tonight, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to look for guys whose game score was either really high the last time, above where they are, so it's an outlier. So we're going to expect them to drop down and pitch poorly, and we're going to attack those guys. Or they were really bad the last time out, and they're normally a pretty good pitcher. So we're going to expect them to have an outlier to offset that game. So in other words, if they had a bad start, we're going to expect them to do a great start. And if they had a good start, and they don't normally have good starts, we're going to expect them to be bad. So we're going to look for those things. And I got 3 spots. So the first spot, I think this game goes, this is 8 o'clock. This is the Baltimore Orioles at the Texas Rangers. And, you know, my number on this game, if I look at this right, I've got Baltimore minus 139. And the number the last time I pulled it up was 111. Is it still 111? Let's see. 110 at Circa, 112 at Superbook, 110 at Bookmaker. So 110, 112, 111. So whatever you want to call it. So the reason that I think that there's good value here is you're paying minus 110 on Baltimore. This plays on Baltimore and Corbin Burns. You're betting the Orioles tonight against Evaldi. So here's where the I'm not going to go through all the stuff I just did with the Detroit Tigers, because everybody knows the Baltimore Orioles right now are probably the best team in the American League East. They're probably the best team in the American League. I mean, there's some people that want to argue Yankees. I'm not going to argue Yankees. The Yankees have 2 hitters, and they got some rough pitching going on. So I'd rather sit here and go Baltimore's going to be the team. That doesn't mean that, some of these teams aren't going to make a run. Houston's making a run. The Rangers are probably in a point where they're going to make a run because they're going to get some pitchers here shortly. Some of these guys are coming back. So, but, I'll say this. The Rangers are one of these teams that Chris Young, he's the general manager for the Rangers, has said that he'll listen to people that want Scherzer. So if you're going to move Scherzer, I don't think you're real serious about, making a big run here because you're going to need pitchers, and they don't got, John Gray. John Gray's not going to stack up. Michael Lorenzen is not going to stack up. And if you're getting rid of Scherzer, Evaldi becomes your best pitcher. And, he's a bulldog guy, but, his stuff isn't the same as some of these other guys. He doesn't measure up to Rick Skubal. All right. So anyway, that being said, where I liked this game was Corbin Burns. He's off of a game score of 46. So 50's average. So that's a below average score. And it's not like a dramatically crazy number, but you got to keep in mind for the season, the whole year, every start he's ever made this year, his game score is 59. Corbin Burns. So that's really good. 59 is really good. I'm trying to see who else is better than him for the day. Oh, nobody. And there's some good pitchers today, but nobody's better than 59. That's what he is for the season, 59. So he's a good pitcher. So that means he had a below average start. And if you look at it, his last 3 starts are 54, and his last 7 starts is a 57. And he's a 59 normally. So you kind of swing it out and you go, is there any issues I need to worry about? Well, he's green. Green in my world means he's top 25% of all Major League Baseball pitchers. He's green in xFIP. He's green in walk rate. And then he's kind of average throughout everything else. So he doesn't have like the immaculate numbers that would really drive him to be like the most dominant ace guy in the world. He's facing Evaldi. Evaldi's last start was a 68. For the season, Evaldi is a 58. So he's just a little bit below where Burns is, but a 68 is much higher. For Evaldi over his last 3 starts, it's a 72. Holy crap. Over his last 7 starts, he's a 57. So he's got to come down to make all these numbers work. It's just the way math is. It's regression to the mean, right? So these guys have made in the world of Evaldi. Evaldi's made 16 starts. So in those 16 starts, he's developed a 58. That's his game score. Really good. over the last 3 starts, it's a 72. Well, that's kind of how it works. It goes up and it goes down. It goes up and it goes down. It's time to come down, right? Should say he's very ripe for a bad start. So I want to bet. I want to know that. I want to bet that. And if I'm pitching and I'm looking at Burns, and Burns is a guy who's going to pitch good because he's had an outlier that was low, well, now I got a pretty good offset, right? So that's kind of how this gets started at what I'm looking at. So then when I bring it out and I start looking at Evaldi, you wouldn't expect anything to be bad. Well, the only thing that's bad for Evaldi on this thing is a hard hit rate. He's getting hit hard, 41%. It's the highest. It's the absolute highest on the board today. But he's getting outs. So those hits are getting hit towards fielders. They're just not getting hit for other things. But who are they playing today? The Orioles. And the Orioles, over the course of the season, not today, are one of the best offenses in baseball. They're really good. So let's see if we can figure out anything else from these guys. So another thing you want to look at, and I talk about this a lot, is I don't care what a pitcher's record is, what his one-loss record is, because you can get a win and you don't deserve one, and you can get a loss and you don't deserve one. So, and then you can get a no decision. As a bettor, I don't get paid off of anything more than what the team does. So I want to know what the pitcher does. I want to know what the team does when the pitcher makes his starts, right? So in this case, Burns has made 19 starts. He's won 12, so he's 12-7. So that's pretty good. It's not great, but it's pretty good. It's better than some of these guys that are out there, and like the pitcher for the Padres today, Waldron, he's 7-12, right? He's made 19 starts, only won 7 times. I'd rather have the guy that wins 12 than the guy that wins 7. I want to, if I'm supporting them. And then you look at where Evaldi is. He's made 16 starts, won 10. So not really getting anything between the two. They're pitching pretty well, both of them. And then you start to look at them and you go, well, where are they at for SOPS? They both are about the same. So, okay, where's my big differences here? You can look at it and go, okay, where's the offense at? Well, the offense, the Texas Rangers, are 20th in isolated power, and they are 20th in WAR, offensive WAR. But the Orioles aren't hitting. This is the worst I've ever seen them. They are 27th in isolated power. It's not good. They actually have 0 guys over 1 WAR. So why am I wanting to bet on these guys? Well, I'm betting on them because of the offset to the pitcher. This is what this play is. That's all it is. It is Evaldi is due to make mistakes, and he's going to put the ball where he shouldn't. And when they do that, the Orioles can take advantage. And when you have Burns on the other side, he can win this game. So I'm getting them at a very slight favorite, I think -111. And my number says they should be like -135, 140, whatever it was. They're on sale. I like to buy teams on sale. I like to buy good teams on sale. And I talked about Baltimore. I think Baltimore is a great team. I think Baltimore, they won 100 games last year. Probably win 100 games this year. How can you not take them when you get them on sale? And they got their best pitcher going. So sign me up. I am all in on the Texas Rangers, Baltimore Orioles against the Texas Rangers, and I think that's play number 2. So then, keeping that same philosophy in mind, but changing it up just a tick. 2 things in play here. Number 1, I'm going to be betting on the Kansas City Royals. Same time frame. I think it's 8:10. But on the run line, we're doing Kansas City on the run line. They're playing the White Sox, and the White Sox. And just because I'm right here, the White Sox are number 30 in offense, number 28 in isolated power. They are 41% worse than an average team in weighted run created plus. 41% is not going to get it done, guys. I mean, they got to score runs. And the White Sox are scoring 18 runs in the last 6 games, so they've scored 3 runs a game. The Royals, they don't strike out, so they're going to put balls in play. So keep that in mind because they play Chris Flexen. And then you have 4.8 runs per game, so that they're not hitting the best, but they're 13th in isolated power. They're only 6% less than an average team. So that means they're right around average. They got 3 guys hitting it off, over 1 more. So I like those kind of things. But where we're going to come in here is we're going to go and say Chris Flexen threw a game score 58. Be like, okay, well, that's what Corbin Burns does every time. Okay, I get it. But Chris Flexen's game score for the season is 44. So that's a huge outlier. Like, he pitched a great game. Over those last 3 games, it's a 47. Over his last 7, it's a 42. So for him to get down to that average of 42, 44, he's going to have to throw like a 35. If he throws a 35, then the Royals are going to score 7 runs in the first 5 innings. I mean, that's the way it works. The guy gets crushed. So I like that. And then on the other side of that, and we got a pitcher that can do that, like Flexen can get crushed. And then on the other side, we got Michael Wacha. So, Michael Wacha's can be good. The last time he pitched a 37. Game scored 37. That's not very good. So his average for the last 3 games, which includes the 37, is a 51.7. For the last 7 games, it's a 55. So he's an above average starting pitcher who had a bad start. So for him to get his numbers up, we're going to expect him to have a good game. And we just said he's facing the worst offense in baseball. Kind of matches up, right? So now we have a pitcher whose xFIP number is 4.97. This is Flexen. There's only one guy worse than that. 4.92 Sierra. He is the worst. And his FIP is a 5.55. There's a couple guys worse than that. But point being is there's not many people that are worse than Chris Flexen. His stuff plus number is awful. You want him to be at least 100. And this measures your velocity and movement and spin rate and all that stuff. It's 49. I could go through 49. That's kind of the idea here, right? The idea here is that his stuff is not that good. His home run rate, 1.82 per 9 innings. That's not good. That's in the worst 25%, right? Anything over 1 is not really good. But when you're almost at 2, that's even more terrible. And his strikeout rate is 6.07. So guys are going to hit him. He's not going to strike him out. There's going to be balls in play. So Royals, you're not going to be in a position where I'm worried about not getting any hits. You're going to get hits. You're going to get on base. You're going to have a lot of opportunity here to score runs. And he's off a bad start. So there you go. I'm sorry, he's off a good start. So he's going to, he's got to have that offset. And then our pitcher, Wacha, he's off a bad start. And if you look at situationally, go look at this. Over the last 28 days, we want to attack bad pitchers. Flexen's a 122. 22% worse than an average pitcher at controlling the opponent's offense. There are there's a handful of guys. I shouldn't say that. There's 1, 2, 3 outlier guys that are really bad. And then there's a couple of guys in the same neighborhood. So he's like right in there with the bad pitchers of baseball. So we want to attack him anyway. For the season, 119. For the whole season, he's 20% worse than an average pitcher. So I like all of those things. Michael Wacha's a 91. So he's roughly 10% better than average pitcher, and he's facing the 30th ranked offense. So I like it. My number on the game, so my score predictor comes out, right? And in this game, this is the Royals and the White Sox. It's relatively close the way that comes out. That comes out at basically 5-4, or 5-5 actually. So just because my score predictor says something doesn't mean I bet it then. It's based on the score predictor. I bet it based off of what I see. The score predictor works off of opponents being able to get hits off pitchers. It doesn't work off of anything more than that. So it's good. I use it for certain things. I don't always use it for this. I use it more for totals. Like this total is 9.5, what my number is, and what's the actual total in this game. White Sox. It's opened at 9 and it's still 9. So my number says 9.5. So it's right around that same number. So I'm not, I wouldn't really look. But when my number comes up and it's like a 1.5 or 2 runs better or over the number or under the number, I start looking at totals. Because when you've heard me talk on here, I don't play a lot of totals. That doesn't mean I don't play them. I just don't play a lot of them. Because I can find sides, I can find value, I can find underdogs, right? So in this case, I'm going to bet that Chris Flexen has a bad start. The Royals hit him. Michael Wacha controls the opponent's offense, which means then that I'm expecting this game to be something to the degree of, say 6-3. And if it's 6-3, we win. And we're covering the run line, and the run line I think is like minus 105 maybe. It might not even be that high. The run lines have become very, very where is it? So it opened Michael Wacha minus 105 or minus 1.5 plus 105. So if you bet it early, right now it is minus 115 at South Point, minus 120 at Circa. I think that's a much better play than having to go spend 200 on the Royals. And I think that the Royals are going to beat this team pretty handily. So I like it. So that's game number 3. And then the last game that I had for you guys tonight, and again, it's going to be that same sort of here's a bad start, good start kind of thing. We're going to go to the Dodgers and the Boston Red Sox tonight. You have Pivetta against Stone. This game opened at 140 for the Dodgers. It is now down to Circa has Dodgers at 130, Bookmaker 127, DraftKings is 135. So anyway, it's still on sale from where it opened at 140. I like the Dodgers in this game. I like Stone in this game. And here's kind of what I'm looking at. Stone for the season's a game score 55. His last start was a game score 34, so not very good. This time before that was a game score 22. The time before that was a 92. So his 92 was such a big outlier that he took 2 starts to offset it. Well, guess what's going to happen tonight? He's going to pitch good. And he's shown that a game score 55, that's kind of all-star level. That's not a bad number. That's all-star level. He has made 17 starts for the Dodgers. The Dodgers are 12-5 in his starts. So you don't want to bet against him ever. You want to bet on him as many times as you can. And this is a perfect spot because he's on sale. So for the season, he's an SOPS plus of 88. And he's going to face Pivetta tonight. Pivetta's last start was a game score 60. That's pretty good. The time before that was an 84. So he's got 2 really good games back to back. Obviously, the 84 being a big one. Prior to the 84 and the 60 was a 29, 34, 43, 34. So who is this guy? Well, his average for the season's a 52. So just a bit better than average, but not what Stone is. So he's hittable. And the when you look at this, the other part of it is I can tell you that his XWOA was so weighted on base percentage, expected by the offense because he's faced these hitters before, is 386. That's in the worst 25% of baseball. So that means he's faced this team a couple times. Let me see what I got. He's faced the Dodgers. He's faced the Dodgers 4 times. He's given up 16 hits. He's got a pretty good earned run average. But the batters in the lineup have changed since he's faced them, and they're predicted to do well because they've done well against him in the past. So they've hit him. And then when you start to look at it and go, well, Pivetta's made 14 starts for the Red Sox. He's 8-6. That's way different than 12-5. That's way different. So when you then go back and you start to look at it, well, you would think Pivetta's numbers, because he threw a game score 60, game score 84, should be pretty good because I look at stuff over the last 30 days. Well, he's got average metrics. He's got average walk rate. He's got a high home run rate. He's got an average batting average against 257. He doesn't get ground balls, and he has a high hard hit rate. There's nothing on there that says he's dominant, even though he had 2 dominant starts. That's because those are offsets for the other ones. So here's another guy who's very ripe to have a bad start. And he gets against the Dodgers. Dodgers at home. So we'll see how the Dodgers can do at home. And then you have Stone, who is average across the board. But for the season, his WPA, win percent added. So again, this is where you take all of the good things he does in terms of where he put the ball, he got strikeouts, his outcomes, all the positives go in this column. And then over in this column, all the negatives happen, all the bad stuff, the hits and the walks and the whatever, pitches in the wrong spot. And then you subtract them out. He has a 1.29 positive. It's in the best 25% of baseball. He doesn't make many mistakes. And obviously, he did his last start. And he did the time before. So I don't expect this to be the same case for him. And I looked him up in terms of, he's a young kid, made 17 starts. Maybe he's at that innings level thing. Not this guy. He made some minor league starts where he's got 150 innings pitched just 2 years ago. So they'll let him pitch until his arm falls off. So I don't think you got a problem there. I don't think you've got a guy who's going to continual decline here. So then you look at it and go, all right, well, what's the offense look like? Well, Boston's offense is doing a little better than what the Dodgers are. The Dodgers right now, of course, it would help if I click offense and not bullpen. So offense, you come over here, and the Dodgers are 22nd. They got 3 guys over 1 WAR, and Ohtani leading the way. Ohtani's been on this, I call it my banner wall thing here, because I list out the players who are over 2 WAR or higher carrying the offenses. He's on there almost every single day, Ohtani, and Judge, those kind of guys. They're almost on there every day carrying their offenses, and there he is again on there. And for the Boston Red Sox, you got Brady and Devers to carry in the offense, but they got 6 guys over 1 WAR, and the Dodgers have 3. But I'm expecting this to be one of those spots where the Dodgers hit Pivetta. Pivetta's ripe for a poor performance, and Stone is exactly the opposite. He is ripe for a good performance. And again, these are one of those spots where you come in and you go, man, if I bet this morning, I would have had to pay minus 140 for the Dodgers. So everybody's out here betting, and they're betting on the Red Sox. They have to travel all the way out there, and I get it. They were on break and all that stuff, but they still have to travel all the way from Boston to the Dodgers in LA, and they have to play the Dodgers out there, and people are betting on them to beat them. And I don't think that's the way this should go. I think it should be. I think that my number on this game was, there it is, Dodgers. I have Dodgers minus 136. So when it opened at minus 140 and then went down to 135 or so, I think, okay, well, it's not a lot of value. But now it's down below that. So now you're getting them on sale, right? So as we look at this and your day kind of goes, I think that this is where you can go and say, as long as you have a number that is a number you trust and it's there, then what the public does or what the lines do or where everything goes, unless there's a reason for the move, meaning that, the Phillies had that time where Schwarber and Harper didn't play. So, okay, you had to drop there. You had to kind of fix that. The Dodgers come up in their lineup, and the lineup comes out and Ohtani's not playing. Well, that's a big deal because he's driving their offense, right? So if they got, say Ohtani and Teoscar Hernandez is not playing tonight, well, that's a big problem because the Dodgers offense is not hitting already. So you need their hitters to hit. So that might be a line move and a reason for a line move. Nothing I've seen. Everybody's betting Red Sox. And that's fine. but I think you should bet Dodgers. So those are the 4 plays today. The 4 plays, going back over them, are Detroit Tigers, Baltimore Orioles, Kansas City Royals on the run line, Los Angeles Dodgers tonight against the Red Sox. So, these shows have been really good. I didn't know what to expect today. We got a little smaller crowd today than we have been. But that's okay. I mean, we still got quite a few people on the show today. I appreciate, Jays and some of these guys that are out here, Mr. Jenkins and stuff. I haven't seen his name on here, like making comments, but they're retweeting the stuff. They're getting the stuff out. That helps grow the channel. With the idea that we're trying to get a sponsor, we're going to go get a sponsor. But they're not going to come sponsor if we got 80 people watching. If we got 250 people every night, they could do that. So we just got to keep it going, right? We just keep going, keep doing what we're doing. I spent a lot of time too over this time frame on football. So I made some articles I wrote on how to calculate power ratings and make lines for the NFL. Those are on the web. Well, I'm not sure if they're on the website or not. I have to double check, but I'll put them on the website. And they were sent out to the people that have a free newsletter. That stuff came to them. Secondly, I'm going to start putting some more football stuff out there, some more football stuff going on because, I do this every day for baseball. There's only 30 teams in baseball. I get it. There's 30 pitchers every day, and every team has 5 or 6 or 7. So, there's 210 pitchers and all this other stuff that goes on. But there's 130 college football teams, and there's 32 NFL teams. So there's a lot of homework and study that goes on there. One advice piece that I would give everybody when it comes to football. I know everybody likes Phil Steele's books, and I'm not saying I don't. I'm not saying all that stuff. But here's what I want you to understand. If everybody that goes out there and studies that stuff gets the same information that everybody else has, then your viewpoint on who these teams are and what they are all the same. You don't need a guy like me to come on here and go, well, I think this team's good, this team's bad, this team's this, that, and the other, if I'm repeating what Phil Steele has. So Phil Steele has a good business model of what he's doing. He is a former tout. Says the football is going to go awesome too. Your new email was great, so I appreciate that, Jay. Things will be working out. I mean, you'll see a lot of stuff. But the point that I'm trying to make here is when you're putting your stuff together and you're studying for football. It's okay to use like Phil Steele, but what I'm going to tell you is make sure that that's not your dominant information source. Because if it's your dominant information source, everything that you think about a team is going to be the same as everybody else that goes and buys that magazine. Go find fringe stuff that isn't the same, right? I put a link out. I don't know if I put a link out there or not, but Pick 6 is what Pick 6 was really good. I liked that. Brad Powers does just as much. I shouldn't say that. He does a ton of work, a little different way. He's a tout. A tout's a guy that sells picks, and he puts out a college football. It's $50. Well, I have ways to get certain things, and I don't pay $50 for them, but I have it. But the point being is. You then have a dichotomy of choice, and you have a convergence of viewpoints, and then you have a way to look at stuff. And you can look at things in a lot of different ways. Guys, there's a ton of stuff available. If you aren't using lists in your Twitter, please do. I know that I show up on, I don't know, I think it's up to 50 different lists, maybe more. I don't know. But make a list in Twitter. You don't have to follow people. You go and you click them, and you go and say, hey, I want you on my football list. And then when you see what they publish and they put out, you can really go look at all the stuff, because when you follow somebody, go to their website. Don't just look at what they put on Twitter. Look at the information they put out, because some of it's good, some of it's not, but some of it's good. And guys, I'm just going to say it this way. If there are people that are out here and they're just looking for picks, I get it. I'm not a free pick service. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to try to teach people things, and then the stuff I'm trying to get you to see, I'm trying to give you examples, and I think you should bet them, right? That's what the show's about. I'm not out here going, this is a free pick, this is a free this is a free that. I don't believe in free anything, because if you really want to learn the business, you need to learn it and pay for the information, because information is not cheap. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I'm not trying to take anybody's money. That's not the whole point of what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that you're going to get more valuable information that people will show you and teach you when you pay for it. So if you pay for a course, right? If you're going to go become a realtor, you don't download something on the internet and then go, I'm a realtor. You go take courses from other realtors that teach you how to become a realtor, and then you go apply and become it, you get a license, and you be able to go sell stuff, right? So that's what I'm trying to get at, is there's a lot of people that want free stuff, and I get it. That's not me. I'm not a free guy. I give out these plays. They don't cost you nothing to watch me on here, but the goal isn't that I give out the free plays. The goal is that you learn from some of the handicapping techniques and some of the things I say and all that stuff. So eventually, maybe at some point, I keep wanting the channel to grow up, but maybe it goes way down because you guys are doing it on your own. That's kind of the goal. The goal is to learn stuff and do stuff. Look, I incorporated a lot of things in my stuff this year, and I've done this for a lot. You know, I didn't use WPA nearly as much as what I do this year. So there's a lot of different things that you learn, and you have to adapt, right? You know, Jeff and I talk, and other people talk, and and we talk about what we're seeing and what's going on, and you learn about what other people see that you miss. And it's good to network. It's good to talk to these people. It's good to have an idea. It's not good to just get plays and then go out and bet them. If you're getting plays and you go out and bet them and they lose, what leg do you have to stand on? Who cares, right? All you're going to do is go, well, those were free picks anyway. I don't even. So let me ask you this question: If there's no substance behind the picks you get, and they don't win, but you still sit there and get the picks, do you even play them, or do you root against the guy? Because I've seen that, right? So a guy goes out, hands out 10 free plays to somebody, and it goes 2-8. So then you go, I'm never playing this guy, but I want to see his picks because I want to see him lose. That's what happens. People go do that, and I get it. It's kind of, you're proving yourself that you don't need to play that guy's plays. But what I am going to tell you is that that's not how you go do this and make this something that's a endeavor that you win at, because it doesn't work like that. You have to learn and grow, test out things, try things, understand what you did, right? So if I go and break down a game and you don't understand what I did, think of it this way. It's all based on facts and data, and then it goes to a theory because of those facts and data, and then I'm going to justify that and make a bet. That's what I do. So when I come back and I say, oh, I had a theme for this and our theme for that, or I had this, that's kind of how that facts and data led me to a theory, which is the theme, and then I made my bet based off of those things. And that's really what I want you guys to get out of this whole channel and this whole thing is, and there's more than one theory, right? There's more than one way to look at stuff. Even my way, like I come up with a lot of different ways to look at stuff, and I want to attack bad pitchers. I want to bet on guys off poor starts. I want to bet against guys off that. I want to bet on good offenses. I want to bet on teams. Keep out on totals where bullpens they can't hold it down. I want to know the bad bullpen. All of that stuff. Football's it's kind of the same, but just do yourself a favor. Look at information. Try to find non-mainstream stuff. And you're going to do yourself a big favor, especially if you can get to a point where you trust it and trust the information, because the reality is you're going to have a leg up on everybody else. Everybody else will have to catch up to a team that you already kind of know about, right? So some of these guys, like, for example, in the ACC, some of these guys like Florida State. And you start looking at Florida State and you go, they lost their quarterback. They lost, I don't know how many NFL draft picks. I think it's like 12, something like that, a big number. And then you got to put all this together and you're going to go, well, how are they going to win the ACC when you have a team like Miami bringing in, I get it, they bring in a quarterback, but it's Ward from Washington State, who's phenomenal quarterback. Playmaker is going to be better than what they had last year. They bring in a running back from Oregon State who's a 1,000-yard rusher. And they bring in a couple wide receivers, and they already had a great offensive line. They already have a great defense. How are they going to lose? Well, the point being is you start to then go and say, well, I get it. These guys like Florida State, and let them bet Florida State. Let them bet Florida State, and then you go bet Miami, or however you want to, right? Like, is Clemson for real? Is some of these other? I was just talking ACC for a second, but the point being is you start to look at this stuff and you go, I don't know. I need to know more about these teams. I need to know more about these players. I need to know who they are. I need to know more about the coaches. I will tell you one thing that I liked about Pick Six, and I never saw it anywhere else before. But Pick Six ranks the teams and the coaching staffs on their ability to take transfers and take players and improve them. And they've got a formula for how they develop that. And then you can look at it and you can go, you know what? This is a pretty good coaching staff. They just brought in some pretty good talent. There's no reason for me to think that they're not going to do well here. I like this team, right? And then you can look at it and go, nobody else is saying that. So there's an edge that nobody else has, except for the people that have that information. And that's kind of how that kind of goes, right? So I was looking at it, and one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting is some of these teams, like Pick Six, likes Iowa and Nebraska in the Big Ten. To do a lot better than what they're necessarily predicted to do. I'm not telling you to go make bets on totals, the team totals, to win wins and that kind of stuff. You need to pay attention because you're going to find value in betting lines. So some of this stuff I think is kind of interesting. The SEC, for example, everybody has Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss in some kind of way. It could be Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, Alabama. But it's all those same four schools. But, for example, Brad Powers has Tennessee as the 9th best team in the conference, and Pick Six has them 5th. It's kind of interesting, right? So you have to look at these things, and you have to find the irregulars, the outliers, and then go, well, why is one publication got it this way and the other no? And then you can find out more information, and you can figure out where those teams are and what kind of they look like, and kind of go from there. Like Brad Powers in the ACC, Florida State, Clemson, Miami. That's what he likes. And then Pick Six goes, nope, I like Miami, Florida State, Clemson. I like it that way. And, you start looking at them and you go, well, Pick Six has Miami 10th in the country, and Brad Powers has them 17th. But they have Florida State 12th. I get it. Florida State's got good talent. They don't necessarily play the roughest schedule in the world. But as you kind of go through it all, you start to look at it. Utah is another team that's like, do you like Utah? So anyway, point being is, do yourself a favor. find information that you can use that's not mainstream. And I don't even have Phil Steele yet. I haven't even looked at it yet. I don't know where he has these teams ranked. But I guarantee you that once you read Phil Steele and you look at all that stuff, that's kind of what your mindset is. It's these guys, right? I've seen it on Twitter. I don't know how many times already. Well, Phil Steele says this and Phil Steele says that. I get it. He does a great job because his business model is I'm going to call coaches, right? And he calls the coaches and then they give them, their speech for an hour about their team. And then he kind of grades that speech and grades their team and then puts together the thing and says, well, these are the players and this is my, thing. And they kind of go from there. But he doesn't give you 1,500 words per team. If you look at his sheets, they're players. Break down the quarterbacks. Well, he goes back for 2 years and tells you the history of the quarterback and then jumps into this year, and there might be one or two little phrases there about the quarterbacks. And then it's the same thing for the running backs. And then it's the same thing for the offensive line, right? So I never got anything out of that. What I always got out of that was I want to know what's the best offensive line in the ACC. Well, he grades that. And I will tell you that he's going to be a better grade than you or me. He will talk to the coach. He's done this for years and years and years, so he knows. But there's other publications that do that too. I'm just saying, vet it out. You're going to find yourself in a better spot at finding value, and you'll be good. Anyway, guys, look, I don't mean to keep you guys. I got to start shutting up. I'm sitting here talking about football, and it's a baseball show, for God's sakes. It's all good, though. I'm getting fired up about football. Not that I'm not fired about baseball. Look, man, I'm at like 15 units for the season with the goal of getting over 30 units for the season. I'm 140 wins and I think 117 losses, maybe. So I'm like 23 wins ahead. And the goal is like, look, if you're up 30 units on a baseball season, that's pretty damn good. And 30 units depends on how many units, what you bet is a unit, right? If you're up 30 units, you bet $100 a game. Well, you're what, $3,000 ahead, something like that. So, that's $100. If you're betting $200, if you're betting $500, if you're betting $50, whatever the number is, 30 units is a lot. I see a guy on Twitter, Steve Fezzik, says, I'm up 88 units since 2022 sometime in baseball. That's pretty good. But the idea is if you stretch that out over 3 seasons, you kind of want to be at 90 units, and he's kind of there, but you want to look at it for what it's worth and kind of go from there and how you bet it and what your goals are. So there you go. Anyway, guys, follow me on Twitter at Webby20. That would be great. I'm trying to, I'm close to 10,000 followers. I had 10,000 followers, but I paid a little less attention to it, so I got a few drop off. I'm sure there's robots and bots and stuff that get in there and they fall off and, whatever. Go to my website, read the information. I'm going to do my best to put some more stuff in there. As baseball and football collide, my time gets less and less, but I'm going to try to put some more stuff in there. I did do a power ratings on the NFL for all the teams. I'm trying to remember if I actually put it in there. I'll put that on the website. It's been sent out in terms of publication-wise for the newsletter. So go there and sign up for the newsletter, for God's sakes. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. And then if you want to be a customer, go be a customer. It's $100 for baseball for the rest of the season, if that's what you want to do. If you want to be a customer for football, just say, okay, I want, click on it, football, and be done. And we'll go from there. And we utilize that money to help this stuff grow and try to pay for advertising and try to do stuff and try to make it go. And then if we can get sponsored, then we won't have to do any of that. So help me grow, right? That means hit the like button, retweet stuff, subscribe or whatever. I don't know. I'm not an influencer, so those guys have all that stuff down. They say that stuff really good. I wish I was better at that stuff than I am. So anyway, guys, good luck tonight. Let's win some bets. And tomorrow is Saturday. So tomorrow is a 12 noon start. So I will be back on for the games for tomorrow, starting at noon. I'm thinking about pushing it off to like 12:15, 12:30 though, just because doing all the stuff I do and everything, it really makes a rush for me to try to get it in and then really think through a lot of stuff before I get on the show. So I might push it to 12, 15, 12. So pay attention, like when I put stuff out on Twitter. Hey, I'm going to be on at noon, or I'm going to be on 12:15, 12:30. Guys, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Marty and Jay and everybody for making the comments. I appreciate you getting on here. It's very important to have those. Daniel Barry, again, thank you for saying hello. And I will see you guys tomorrow, whoever comes on board, and we'll hopefully have a good night, make some wins, make some money, and do it again tomorrow. Thanks, guys.